Hi guys, and welcome back to episode 3 of my short Ymir tutorial series. In the last episode, we covered some of the basics such as research, a bit about militias and armies and the differences, and we also got our basic houses set up over here in our little housing district, and we also got a little bit more done with the ground storage and talking about sid points. So, in this episode, I'm gonna get more done with the army, but this time I'm gonna actually build an army, do a bit of scouting, do a bit of hunting, try and find some barbarian camps, gotta get more text done, and then just explain some things as they pop up, such as certain texts and little tips here and there. Okay, so getting straight into it, we've completed now our throwing sticks tech. This is the one that unlocks javelins. This is a big step in technology, so we're gonna right click that. We've also then completed First Explorers. We built our mission army. So now we've got the two missions, Tribal Craftsmanship and First Hunt. I'm going to go to Build, Production, Weapon Maker, and this building, the Weapon Maker, is a really important building as it doesn't just make weapons, but it also, when you unlock them, makes your armour. And it stays like this for a long time actually. You make padded armour here, light helmets, spears, axes, sorry not axes, battle axes, shields, bows. You make everything, at least for the first few ages, if not all of the ages, in this building. So this is a really important one and good one to build. So we're going to build two of these, and I'm going to make a little space here because I want to have my rows of more builders here, more toolmakers here. So I'm going to build it here, a one space for when I build a road later on. And then I'm going to build a second one there. So there we go, got our two toolmakers, they're going to take 1.5 minutes at the times 1 speed. And we've also got water in the ground. This is really important. We started here on a tile that only has access to one little pond, and that pond only gives us one water collector. So water is actually our limiting factor at the moment. We've got demand for 2.4, but we're only fulfilling 1.2. Water in the ground is a really important early game tech that lets you build wells that are really important for growth on tiles where there's no river or ocean. So water in the ground takes us 8 hammers and 5 knowledge. It's also quite a bit harder and longer to research than some of the previous techs. You've got 5 artisans and 87% chance of 1 minute. Boom. So, where it says artisans, and before it said farmers, I forgot to tell you this, but if you come to the population at the top here, these are your people. I have discussed them before. You can actually look at what their jobs are. So, these are the artisans. We have 8 artisans, and these are the stats for the artisans. So, the different job types are grouped together. And then everything's taken as an average. So, the average wealth, health, life quality and intelligence. So I'm going to just discuss some of these. Wealth is basically the amount, the value really, the objective value of all the stuff they own. So you can sort of just think of it as their money really, but it isn't just that. But that's sort of how the game calculates it later on. Health is determined, obviously, as their health, but health is really important for growth. If you increase health, you will massively increase growth. This obviously needs to be increased with food as well, but that's important. Life quality follows on from health. Life quality, if you increase life quality, you increase the growth, but you also increase the intelligence. So life quality is achieved by introducing new food sources, giving access to new consumer goods such as clothes and pottery, and also anything else that fulfills their needs really. So services such as the tavern service. Finally, we have intelligence. So like I said before, this is influenced quite a lot by life quality. Intelligence simply is how good your people are then at researching new things, making it quicker and easier to research new techs. So, we've just got water in the ground. What's this? Yeah, sorry, we've got water in the ground, we can get rid of that. So let's get a new well up. What you want to do is you want to click the eye, go to groundwater, and this will open up this screen. You want to place your well in an area with the highest groundwater. So if you hold right click, you can actually see the number. Groundwater here is 10.55, whereas here it's 8.57. So the more blue it is, the light blue it is, the better, and the more green it is, the worse. So you can see here this sort of flinty, gravelly area, 6.69. So we don't want that. So we're going to build the well, and here's pretty good at 13. Wow, that is actually good. So we're going to get a well here. Wells take 1 porco to fulfill, and they can only be built 15 tiles away from each other. So you can't have wells just all next to each other. Get another one here. There we go. So we've got our 2 wells. I'm going to click on them and I'm going to set them to critical because they're really important jobs. Basically, any jobs that are fundamental to the health and size of your population, such as farmer jobs, hunters, doctors, you want to have on critical, really, or at least on high. Okay, so I've just come out into the world map. I just wanted to have a little look around. We've now got our army. Now we've got the well sorted. We can move on to scouting out a little bit. So, we've got some bears down here. As far as I'm aware, bears don't actually actively attack your settlement, but if you want to settle on them, on their tile, you'd have to kill them. Tribes are small bands of like porcos that they don't attack you, but if you want to settle on that tile, you'll have to attack them. But they do have some resources, so you could, in fact, try and take them out just to get their resources. So around us, we've got swamps, jungle/forest, we've got just a flat, and then up here we have some hills. So I'm going to scout out. Talk about the military stuff while we're here. So, this is the military strength. Think of this as not the exact sort of how good they are. Like if you, for example, paired off a 500 strength versus a 300 strength, it's basically saying that the 500's got the better chance of winning. It doesn't exactly at all mean that they're going to win, because there could be terrain affecting it, there could be the AI affecting it, could be fortification. So just think of that as a good way to measure how strong your army is. It also influences how much score you gain. So if you come up here, military score, the more military strength you have, the more score you'll get. But don't think of it as like, oh, I've got more score than him, I'll guaranteed to win. This is simply the number of units. This is how much money per tick they cost, but we don't pay money at the moment, so you don't need to worry about that. And the base action point cost for moving, you can simply see that is how much it costs base to move. So talking about the movement now, let's move around. So you can see that actually some of these tiles cost more action points. So we always start with 100, and the city that they were deployed in, so this army is deployed in Redwood, the population is sourced from Redwood, you get 31 action points per tick. If you move this army to another city, let's say we move this army to a city here, let's say, they wouldn't generate at 31 action points per tick. They generate at just about 9. So you want to try and have, if they're charging up action points, them in the city they started in. Different terrain take different amount of action points to cross. So flat are obviously the easiest to cross. Swamps and mountains are really heavy on action points. Hills are quite heavy. And forests are moderate. So let's move up. So this is going to cost us 4 action points. We're going to move up and we're going to scout some more of the map. And you can see, every time you scout an unknown area, so this is like this black void around you, events will pop up. So we've got our first one here, and you can read this. Pause the video if you want to just read this. I'm going to look at the different choices, and I'm going to click excellent. That was very, very useful. So that's scouted out, free for us. So that was a good event. It's given us some view. We can actually see there is some tribes, some warrior tribes here. So warrior tribes, again, they don't actually actively attack your settlements, but if you go through them or you try and settle on them, they will attack the troops, and they're a bit stronger than normal tribes. We don't need to worry about them too much. We can see that we've got a little river up here, we've got a lake over here, more swamps. We haven't got any mountains, we've got some hills. So a bit on the territories. Obviously forests, better for wood. Swamps, better for clay. Hills, better for rock. Rivers, better for fish. plains more likely to be better for growing crops and placing pastures, and mountains are more likely to get ores and stuff like that. It's not guaranteed at all. I think it's about 20% chance for a mountain tile to get stuff like copper and tin and iron. So they're not good on their own. Mountain tiles pretty bad. They've got very low fertility, and they've only really got stone and flint. But if you can get those ores, it can definitely make up for it. So anyway, that's what I'm looking out for. I'm looking out for a nice mix of hills, swamps, forests, and plains to cover all my needs. At the moment we're in a forest, and that's excellent. I'm trying to continue to move up. So as we haven't explored any of the map, we're just walking through known territory. We're not getting any events at the moment. Here we go. We explored a bit of unknown territory. We've got an event. So we've lost action points. So that just slows us down. We haven't lost actually any troops yet. And I'm going to return for now. And the reason is because I want to hunt these llamas, and I don't want to accidentally lose this formation. So, hunt. So a quick thing about hunting. Hunting is a very early game way of just getting meat when your territory can't produce enough to meet demand. So our territory can't produce enough to meet demand. If we have a look. Oh, no, that's a lie actually. My bad. Territory does. It produces 3.4, and the demand at the moment is only 2.3. So hunting for us would be a bit useless. It does give us leather, which is great for building new buildings and making leather clothes, but actually the meat will just go to storage. The only reason you do want to do the hunting, and that one hunting in the early game, is to complete the achievement first hunt, and we get some new ideas. So let's do that. Hunt, it costs 15 action points, and what will happen is our little sort of warrior band will just attack these llamas. So how the battles work in this game is your troops arrive at the territory, they station at the part of the map. So because we're attacking from up here and our troops are travelling, they're arriving in the top left corner. This is really important for planning your attacks, because let's say the enemy has a fort here and they've built their fort on this side. If you then attack from the bottom right, from the southeast, you will have to cross the river, and the enemy can use that against you. So that's just little things you need to understand. So yeah, band of warriors are fighting. Warriors are certainly not the better tool for hunting. You want to get Javelineers. They massively increase the hunting success rate, and that's a thing some of the players are struggling with. New players is finding that their warriors just die, and in fact we may see that my warriors just die, and I'll have to make a new band, and that's because they're just not strong enough to fight the animal. So if you want to speed things up, you can go to battle, or set that to ×4, and you can see that that's sped up the animation now. So that should make things go a bit faster. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to the territory so we can see what's happening. And so you just at least get to see a little bit more how the combat works in this game. So every single territory that you view, you can view it like any normal territory, which is what's so amazing about this game. So this territory has been random generated, and it will always be here for you to look at. And if it is developed, you can see it develop as other players do it. What's great is we've just actually hunted them, and I don't think we lost too many men. We lost 5 warriors, and we killed 10 llamas. So we've got 88 meat, 22 leather, 15 wool, and the 1 wood. Brilliant. So we've completed the mission first hunt. We've now unlocked hunting companions. This simply just allows us to make the next the next hunter building. If we go to here, knowledges. There we go, new building hunter, and the bracket with javelin means that text will not appear to tell you that it allows that until you've researched what's in brackets. So we've already unlocked javelins, which is now why it says hunter level 2. So we've got the 8 meat, 4 hunters, 100%, brilliant. So let's return our army back to Redwood, and I'll come back in a second when we've got some stuff done. Okay, so just one quick note. Our army has carried all that stuff. So when you've got your army selected here with the troops, you want to click on the inventory, and this shows the inventory. You can actually see we got about 140 items, but this army can only carry 66, so we did lose out on quite a lot. We've got the leather, we've got the wool, but we lost a lot of meat. I think we did also lose quite a lot of leather, so not good. But what you want to do is you want to get the resource, you want to left click it and click unload, and that will just simply drop it off in the territory storage, because otherwise it's simply the army carrying it, and that's no use. We've just completed hunting companions, so I'm going to go back to the territory. Okay, so now we're back in the territory. Let's find the hunter buildings. So, at the hunter buildings, it currently takes 4 porcos to get 1.7 meat and 0.4 leather. So now with javelins, wood and hammers, we can upgrade this building and it's drop it down to 3 jobs. So we'll do that for both of them. If I can find the other one. So if you do lose certain buildings, such as hunter buildings, go to build, production, and then just get the hunter icon. Sorry, get the hunter building out, and then you can find it. So here we go. I'm going to do the same. So the hunter building is built. It gets the exact same amount of meat and leather, but it just takes 1 less porco to do this. And that is really good in the early stage of the game, where actually, without agriculture, you can't grow your tribe too big. So extra jobs here and there are really good. This is mine. Brilliant. We've unlocked this tech. This tech, if we have a look here, doesn't do anything at the moment, but it does lead when, again, like with the domestic dog and javelin, they both support each other in that you need to get both of them to unlock the certain tech. So property is the exact same, where it's an important tech, but it just requires others. So this is mine tech, is one of the techs required that leads to getting other techs that reduce conflict, such as elders in the conflict. Sorry, elders in the government section, and also techs that policies that can reduce administration burdens and stuff like that. So at the moment, this is mine. Doesn't do anything on its own, but it will be useful for other stuff. So we've also got some culture points, and I've just been stockpiling these. I'm actually going to spend some. I've got it in wood. I'm going to stockpile a bit more leather. Just put it in 1 for now. But leather will become really important. At the moment it's just used to build our houses, which I do need to build more of. So, hammers and leather. I'm going to expand and make another 4 little square. Because we can see all our slums over here. So we want to try and get all of them out of slums. Just to increase, while I can't increase the food, I can increase their health through the houses. Because if we go back, when I said about the health and the life quality at the start of the video, houses +6 health and +5 life quality, whereas slums are -5 health and +1 life quality. So that jump from a slum to the very basic house is a huge jump in increasing your population. So yeah, I'm going to build some more houses. I'm going to chop down some of these trees, sadly, but it's still on the flint. So that was my sort of little tip. Build on the flint, so I'm still happy. And we're in a jungle anyway, so we've got plenty of trees. There we go, we've got 48 houses. So 48 houses should be enough to cover all our population for now. We do need some more storage, because we've got a lot of goods that are just on the floor. And I'm not chopping down any trees for this, and these are free to build these ground storage, so it isn't costing me any resources. They build instantly, so they are okay. You certainly don't want to spend too long with them like this though. And once we unlock the granaries, you can see most of, or almost all, is just taken up by meat. So once we unlock the granary, we'll split that into 1/8 of the size needed. So guys, I think we're almost done. We've got some javelins made, we've upgraded our hunters, we have built some more houses, but our army, got some new text done, and we can't actually progress into the game until we unlock pottery and leather clothes. So I will get that done this episode, but I'll just have to speed it up, because sometimes you can unlock it in 10 minutes, sometimes you can unlock it after 30 minutes. It really depends on the situation and I'm not exactly sure how you unlock it. The developer hasn't said how you unlock them. So I'm going to pause the video for now, and I'm going to speed up time. And when I unlock one of them, we'll go into that and I'll explain that. See you then. Okay, so as you can see, if we go to territory menu, we've got 5 inactive population. You never want inactive population, like ever, because you can always find some sort of job for your population to do, even if you really don't need it. Late game, especially when you have access to the international market. This is more multiplayer, but the international market, you can just put them on a flint collector and sell the flint, so you never want inactives. So I'm going to actually put another gathering camp. I said in episode 1 that you have these little bits of just food where you're not going to get very much out of the farm, but at least you're getting something. And with all these free workers, I am actually gonna build on these. So I'm gonna try and find a spot where I get quite a bit. I'm getting 13 and here we go, 19 and 44. This is the best I can get. There we go. So that's gonna get a little bit more food for us. So as you can see, the building's only working at 69% workforce, whereas some of these other ones are working at 100%. So it's better than nothing, and it is bringing us in more food. But yeah, so we should see that increase our growth, but it's not the best. Brilliant. We have just unlocked leather clothes. So as I said before, some techs require civ points. This is the first example of that. It's going to cost 1 civ point to get this tech, and that's because it invests it into consumption of leather clothes, as well as production actually, so it's quite fair. How it works in terms of failing techs is if you put a civ point in and you fail the technology, you do not lose the civ point, but you do lose the leather or whatever other resources you put in. So this is our first step to completing tribal craftsmanship. We're going to put our 5 works in there, 95% chance and instantly. Sorry, that's because we're on 20%. So I'm going to turn it down to 1% again, that's my bad. 17 seconds, there we go. Got another culture level up, so we've got tons of culture points. And this is one of the first things, leather clothes actually, where you do want to put culture points into it. So stockpiling it for this is a good idea. Not too many, maybe just 1 or 2. Leather clothes, brilliant. So we've unlocked a new building in production, the Tannery, and I am going to build that here. I'm going to build 2 of them here. And we've got 3 workers free. So I'm going to put high priority in this one, just hire some workers. And how much leather are we making? We're making 0.6 leather. So not very much. Oh, never mind. We're making enough. It's just because it would already set in. So we're actually making enough to cover both our industries. So they're making 0.4 leather into 0.4 clothes. It's a nice 1-to-1 ratio. And brilliant. I think that actually... Oh no, we're just under. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest some civ points. Because you can see this, what this wants is it wants 1 leather clothes produced per tick. It doesn't just want 1 leather clothes, it wants produced. So leather clothes here, our population demands 3.6, but actually we only make 0.8. So we don't have any inactive, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put civ point, 2 civ points into leather clothes. So when you put a civ point into sort of a production that doesn't use raw resources, so wood and leather are the primary resource. Leather clothes is a secondary resource because it uses the primary resources to make it. So as you go further and further up the production chain, it becomes more and more complex to make resources. So in resource production that isn't primary stage, you get production efficiency and required materials. What this is saying is simply our tanneries make 20% more leather clothes for the same amount of porcos working there, and they use 10% less leather. So that's really good. So we're actually going to put 2 in, so 20% less leather, and they make 40% more. So let's put the 2. So now we make 1.1 leather clothes, we make 0.3 leather clothes more, and it's actually only costing us 0.1 more leather, because we were using 0.8 before, so that's really good. And that fulfills our leather 1 clothes. Brilliant. Now it's just pottery, and then more population. So, mud baskets. Brilliant. We've unlocked pottery. Pottery and leather clothes are the first consumer goods. And when I say consumer goods, that's not what the game calls, that's just what I refer to them as, and I will be referring to them as this for the rest of the series. Consumer goods are basically goods that I define that your porcos consume, but they're not vital needs. So stuff like clothes, leather clothes, pottery, cider, that sort of thing. If they was stop being produced, your population wouldn't just die out, but you would lose out on those extra benefits. So pottery and leather clothes are the starting consumer goods, and they last throughout the rest of the game, and they're the core good that you'll be making, at least especially early on in the Copper Age. So we're going to put 3 sows. And a little tip about when you're doing the research, never go over the limit. Always try and match it, but if not, go under. Don't ever try and go over it. Okay, so we're now doing the research for pottery. And we've got another research. Do you like fish sticks? This unlocks fishing with javelins. However, we don't have any fish in this territory. You can't. We only have one little pond, and you can't see any fish. So I will research this, but this is only for later on when we will go a territory with fish. We don't want to research too much though, as we only have 45 knowledge space. So this is where the Elder comes in. If you go to culture, Elder Circle, it costs quite a lot of stone and hammers, and late game, when you unlock money, that -5 coins is quite a lot, but it's really, really important to knowledge. So in fact, let's go production, Stonecutters Camp. Let's find a nice little stone deposit. We've got one there, very small, but we've got some there. So if I was to build one, not very good. 0.5. Here we go. 1.17. That's the best we can get. So build one there. And then I'm going to end it there for this episode. So we've got quite a lot done. We've built more housing. We've got the first 2 basic researches done, which is pottery, leather clothes. In fact, we've got our leather clothes production up and running. We've got javelin production up and running. We've got our little basic army moving around. We are mining stone now. We've got lots of resources that we need. So now we just need to get some pottery production up and running and try and expand to complete tribal craftsmanship, which we'll do next episode. So thanks for watching.